Alright, so I got a few YouTube comments on my last raid Pokemon video that I should try a certain Pokemon and that it definitely should have been on my list. Personally, I haven't used this Pokemon yet in raids, so that's why I didn't make the list, but I got enough YouTube comments for me to try it out. So today, we're going to be going over Grimmsnarl. Now, I made a few builds, 2 for solo play, 2 for team play, and the team play is going to be leaning into the one-shot strategy. The one thing you're going to want to keep consistent across all your Grimmsnarls is the ability Prankster. That's the main appeal of this Pokemon, mainly priority taunt. As I went over in my last raid Pokemon video, taunt's extremely important in Pokemon raids. It prevents yawning Pokemon or Pokemon that's going to use status moves, setup moves, you name it. Taunt is really good. So for our first solo build, this is going to be mainly a support Pokemon for solo play. You go in, you support, you just pray to God your other rando teammates can do the work. Light Clay for the screens lasting longer, and you're going to want to take both of them because you don't know what you're going up against until you see the board. Taunt to taunt, like I said, and then Spirit Break for the stab move. You could also run Crunch. Unfortunately, Grimmsnarl lost Throat Chop, so Crunch is the next best option for a dark type stab if you want to run with that. And for the IV spread, max HP, max attack, a little bit of defense, adamant nature. The second solo one we have is a Life Orb variant. Now, you still want Prankster Taunt. Main appeal of the Pokemon is what you want. You can run Nasty Pluck, or you can run Fake Tears. Probably a little better because you're going to be helping your teammates also and not just you. And then Life Orb Draining Kiss. I did some calc. There's 2 things you can do here. Life Orb Drain Kiss if you want for the healing. Now Drain Kiss is only base power 50, so it's not going to be hitting as hard as Dark Pulse. But if you don't have Drain Kiss on, you're probably not going to want to be running Life Orb, so you can run something like Shell Bell to keep you healing. Now I did some calcs. Dark Pulse Shell Bell will be doing more damage than Drain Kiss, but Shell Bell heals significantly less health. So if you want more consistent healing, run Life Orb and then Draining Kiss. That'll give you more healing but less damage, but Dark Pulse Shell Bell will give you more damage, a lot less healing. And then of course, whatever screen you want to run. The spreads, you're going to want an HP because you're going to be spamming heals. You might as well get as much HP as you can in. And then special attack for hitting as hard as you can. And then a little in special defense or a little in defense. Either one, whatever floats your boat. And then of course you're going to want a modest for even more special attack. Or those are my 2 solo builds. Now we're going to move on to the builds assuming you're a part of the team and you're going for the one-shot. This first build is standard one-shot. You're running an Iron Hands, you're running a Azumarill, you're running Titan, you're running any Pokemon that can get Belly Drum. So you're going to want Light Screen or Reflect. If you're going in a special attacker, bring Light Screen. Going in it against a physical attacker, bring Reflect. If you're running a 4-man, you'll know in beforehand and you can change that before you go into the raid. Prankster Taunt, the main appeal of this Pokemon. Scary Face because it doesn't have Screech and you don't really need to be lowering special attack with Fake Tears. So Scary Face, best thing I found personally. You could run something else if you want. Your teammates are going to be lowering its defense, so Spirit Break it for cleanups if you fail the one-shot. This is kind of a different spread than I had for the other ones. Max HP, half in defense, half in special defense. It's another spread you can run if you want to run a bulkier Pokemon. And because you have teammates, you shouldn't need to rely on attacking. So I put nothing into attack. The last one is if you are running a one-shot strategy, but you're using a special attacker like Goldango. I normally do not recommend you going for a one-shot strat with special attackers because there is no belly drum. It takes a lot longer to set up. But if you're trying to do that or you're facing a Pokemon with just such a high defense stat, you need to hit it with a special attack, go for this. Now I put Bright Powder on them as an example. Bright Powder is just kind of a haha funny to just try to cheese out some dodges, but not exactly reliable and consistent. So Light Clay also works on this build. You're going to go in with one of the 2 screens, whatever works. Taunt, like always, Fake Tears, and then a special move, Dark Pulse or Dazzling Gleam. Either one works. I like Dark Pulse just for the chance to flinch. It's nice. But if the Pokemon's weak to fairy type moves, run Dazzling Gleam, obviously. And then the same exact spreads as last time, just minus attack instead. With all that out of the way, I'm going to be running it with some of my teammates, so I'm going to be building the traditional one-shot build. Attackers, my teammates are going to be running things like Iron Hands and whatnot. Now let's switch over to the game. Alright, and here's the current build I have for my Grimmsnarl. As you can see, I'm running the Terra Fairy type, and that's because I'm going to be using Spirit Break, and if it comes down to it and I need the stab, I will have the double stab for the raid. So this first battle I loaded into is a perfect example of getting screwed by your teammates. When you're running support, you're heavily relying on them to do all the heavy lifting, and because I had this Grimmsnarl spec'd out for defense and mainly support, so while my other 3 teammates were doing basically no damage, I wasn't helping in that department because Grimmsnarl is more spec towards support, and without good teammates, kind of falls apart quickly. This next battle was the total opposite. I had an Annihilate teammate who was really spec'd out for doing damage, and Grimmsnarl's support allowed Annihilate to set up properly without letting Volcarona set up at the same time. This leading to Annihilate absolutely decimating the Volcarona. Now, playing with teammates and going for the one-shot strategy with belly drummers was another story. Grimmsnarl did well keeping the taunt on and keeping the screens up so everybody else can set up safely, but past that, Grimmsnarl wasn't doing much else. Due to the lack of Screech, or even Tail Whip for that matter, once the screens were up and the taunt was on, Grimmsnarl really wasn't doing any other work. The lack of helping hands also really hurts Grimmsnarl in this strategy. While you can make Grimmsnarl work, there are just better options, i.e. Umbreon, who gets Screech, Helping Hands, and Screens, and is more tanky than Grimmsnarl. Prankster, however, is really nice to have, and if you ever run into a situation where you need a priority taunt because there's just a super fast Pokemon setting up on you before you can even get taunt off, Grimmsnarl would come in super clutch. But outside of that, he doesn't do anything better than any other support Pokemon that I've talked about in the past. With that being said, I would still have one in your back pocket. Maybe not your main support Pokemon, but as a utility backup. Now, I want to do a lot of these types of videos. If there's another Pokemon you think I should make a build for, or you think is really good that I should cover for other people, comment the Pokemon down below and I'll make a video on it. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.